Well, hey there, and g'day from the land of furry fruit and flightless birds. I've been watching a lot of the tag me and my bike videos that various motovloggers have been doing over the last few months, and I find them really interesting. It's great to hear what other people's motorcycle history is. I believe it was started by one girl, one boy, one bike. Started a few months ago with 10 questions, all to do with your bikes. Lots of motovloggers have been doing it. Mosh rides. One recent one was Wiggy, and when I saw Wiggy's one I thought, I might just do that. And then a few days ago, lo and behold, I got tagged myself by Carl the Dingbat. Thanks Carl, love your sense of humour mate, love your videos. And so Carl tagged me and somebody else to reply to these 10 questions, and so any excuse to waffle on and go for a ride. So let's do it. Question 1 was, when did you start riding motorcycles? And the simple answer to that, 1973. I turned 15, and in those days you could get your license at 15 here in New Zealand, and I think it was, my memory serves me right, about 3 days after I turned 15 I had the booking made, went along, answered 5 oral questions and 25 multi-choice written questions, and was given my learner's permit. And then it was just a couple of weeks later that my lovely elder sister, who was doing nursing training at the time, she lent me her little Honda CB100. Went back to the traffic officer, went along to the appointment, he followed me around the block, and then I had my full license. As I remember it, there was no graduated licensing. You didn't you weren't restricted to any particular size bike. But of course I had my little, my sister's little Honda CB100. She'd lent it to me for a couple of weeks. When I gave it back to her, she was really, really angry with me. It needed a new tyre, it needed a new chain. I kind of thrashed it. That leads on to question 2. What was your first bike? Well, I actually ended up buying my sister's little CB100 off her. I think we're following a cyclist up the hill. So, Honda CB100, that was my first bike. Bought it off my sister, had it for, I don't know, probably 12 months. Did a lot of miles on it, did a lot of long distance stuff on it, you wouldn't believe it. The little CB100, it treated me really well. I remember riding in pouring rain with newspapers stuffed up my jacket and up my sleeves and my legs. But when you're 16, 15, 16, those sort of things don't bother you. So I'm probably getting these questions all out of order, because I can recall that there was, why did you start riding motorcycles? And I guess that for me it was inevitable that I was going to start riding motorcycles. I'm not from a motorcycling family, even though my sister had that little CB100. That was the first and only bike she ever had. And I had a brother that, when I was around about 13, an older brother, he had a Triumph 500 Speed Twin. It was actually, he was an apprentice mechanic at the time, so of course his motorcycle wasn't going. I tooted around with it and got it going at the age of 13 on this Triumph 500 Speed Twin, thinking I was just the bee's knees. But prior to that, I don't know, maybe 7 years old, something like that, instead of having an imaginary friend, I had an imaginary motorcycle, and it drove my mother nuts. And I figured now that I must have seen a movie or something with an old Harley or an Indian on it. That was my imaginary motorcycle, and that's when I first came across the concept that you're not allowed to have motorcycles inside the house. Mum cottoned on to the fact that I was taking forever to do anything, so she said that, you know, you don't park motorcycles inside the house, it's got to stay outside. So from then on I had to leave it at the front door and come inside, but every time I went outside, oh yes, had to get it off the side stand, had to give it a kick start, put it into gear, make all the noises. Loved it. And how many have you ridden? Well, that's much more difficult. Before I set out, I counted up the number of bikes that I personally have owned. It comes to a total of about 14, I think. Might have missed one or two, but yeah, I think I've owned 14 bikes, but of course I've ridden a lot more. When I was around about the age of 18 to 20, I worked in a motorcycle dealership, a Honda dealership, as a salesman. So during that period I got to ride quite a few bikes, some brand new ones, including the 6-cylinder CBX 1000 was quite something in its day. Of course, over the years you swap with friends and get to ride their bikes and that sort of thing. I've never been real keen on doing that. I remember a friend had a Triumph Trident that he let me ride, and so away I go, and of course I'm pretty nervous of riding other people's bikes. From where he was at my place, he could see me going up the hill in the distance, and I got back and he gave me a right telling off for labouring it, for not going fast enough. And what is your dream bike? I was talking to my better half about this question. She said, well, what is it? I said, it's whatever bike I'm riding at the time. And she reckoned, well, that's just a cop-out to say that. But that is how I feel about bikes. So, it's whatever bike I'm on at the time, that's my dream bike. The trouble is, there are just so many fantastic bikes, past, present, and I'm sure in the future. So I can't narrow it down to even 1 or 5 that would be my dream bike. This bike I'm on at the moment, definitely at the moment, that's my dream bike, but it has its limitations. It's fantastic, it's really comfy for me, but the pillion seat is absolutely terrible apparently. The better half can't last more than an hour on it, and she's not the only one. Daughter, my teenage son, he actually refuses to come with me now. I think a lot of that is the fact that he's riding himself, so I can understand that. Once you start riding, you don't really want to be a pillion. He has ridden with me since he started riding a few times when his bike's been off the road for whatever, but not on this bike. He reckons that seat's just too uncomfortable back there. So question 6, street or dirt? And I'm definitely a road rider. I prefer long distance rides, touring, so definitely street for me. But I have done quite a bit of off-road riding in my younger days, and it's an awful lot of fun. It is really great that you can actually pick up a lot of good skills by riding off-road, and you learn all sorts of things, even down to wheelies and that sort of thing. Not that I do wheelies these days, I'm certainly not of that, speak of the devil. Yeah, as I say, you can pick up a lot of good skills riding off-road. Question 6. Have you ever fallen or had an accident? And it seems like the standard answer to that question is the old saying, there are those bikers who have come off and those who are going to. So the answer is, of course, yes. I've had my share of spills and thrills. Question 7 or 8, not sure. When did you start motovlogging? Well, I'm very much a newbie, but I've been having big issues with getting the audio right. And you try one thing, it doesn't work, you try something else, it's a bit better but still not good enough. I don't know, I might have got it right now, but it's a struggle getting that audio correct. So this is probably about the 2nd or 3rd video, if it goes up, that I've actually done as a vlog. So question something or other. Which motovloggers do you subscribe to? We're about to enter the Hunua Gorge. When I was at high school, we kind of used the Hunua Gorge as a bit of a timing trial, and I actually held the record in my mother's 1100 for about a week. Starts from this bridge here. I'm going to try and set a new record, not on speed, but I'm going to try and recite all the motovloggers that I subscribe to. 1 down, 4 up, man in Arizona with a 5-speed box, 2-wheel season, 3 gunner, 44 teeth, Baron von Grumble's other channel, Adventures with Bash, Alex Ferreira, Andyman Cam, AZ Ninja Guide, Bacon's Broken Bits, Bandit Rider, the first Kiwi motovlogger on my list, Bandit Nev, Cross the Ditch and Aussie, Baron Von Grumble, Bex 88, Big Smoke and the Monster, Biker Girl, some amazing riding up in Scandinavia, Biking with Bro, another Kiwi rider, Biz, Black Sheep Biker, a Kiwi sheepie with a lovely bike, Bloke on a Bike, a Kiwi with a smoking good channel, Bobby Backmarker, Calm Biker, Captain Motorcycle, Captain Rumbuntious, Cafe Moore, another Kiwi, Chris Harris, a BMW motorcycle technician who really knows his stuff, Landmax 66, Copperfish, Count Miffed, Cuball Productions, Kurt Edwards, Danger Damien, Daniel Oakley, Dazzle Rebel Rides, Delinquent Motorcycle, Ducati Guy, Duke Cube, Duke Dyson, ranked half clever this one, Eagle and NZ, an American here in New Zealand, Bell Rider, 5'6" Triumph, Froggy NZ, a Frenchman here in New Zealand, Gaz Duador, Goosifer, Graham Calvert, Greg Gregorski, Grumpy Old Sod on a Bike, definitely not Grumpy, but I suspect he's not that old, Grumpy Scrumpy, Hawk Girl, Heinz Herb, Hip Cat Harley, one really hip cat, Highwayman, Hillbilly Spule Sport, Ori Rider, Jaffa Saffa, a South African here in New Zealand, Jareth Butler, JB Honda Motovlog, Jim Payne, Johnny Cactus Zero, Jonathan Mackey, a South Island Kiwi, Carl the Dingbat, Kevin Lair Motorbike Adventures of Britain, Kevin McCall, Chaos Theory, Kiwi Badger, the only badger in New Zealand is Kiwi Badger, Lady Hepcat, Lammy IOW, Lone Star Rider, Lunmad, MM, MCN, Mega Idiot, Metalhead 18241, Michael Wrench, Mike 7, Mirius, Moonfleet 41, Delboy's Garage, the #1 channel for all things bike related, Mosh Rides, Mothership Videos, a Kiwi in Wellington, Moto Canada, Moto Guzzy Official, Moto Bot, Moto Geo, Moto Nut, Motorcyclist Magazine, Mr. Motorrad, Ninja Nelly 350, North Yorkshire Biker, Northern Lad, NZ Beaker 1, another Kiwi, Offician Zard, Old Brat Rider, One Boy, One Girl, One Bike, Paul Ford, Paul Giles, Pipes 2300cc, Psycho Paul, Racer TV, Rat Queen Bikes, who doesn't just love the Rat Queen's bikes, Redliner UK, Reggie with 2 Gs, RevDev, Kiwi on a Ducati, Rider of NZ, another Kiwi, another beautiful bike, Riding Phil Collins, a Kiwi Phil Collins fan, Roadcraft Nottingham, Robin NH, Robert Prod, Robert Sutton, Royal Canadian Motorcycle Patrol, Shifty Blake, Six Miffity, Skiggy Cruiser, the great Skiggy, Smoky Bar, Softail Fun, Springy 2112, Squadra Gazista, Steel Fabric, Submoto, Suffolk Candy, Sweet Kiwi, another sweet ass Kiwi, Taffman 92, Tank Girl, New Zealand's famous motovlogger, The Bike Show, The Great P, The Infamous Biker, how do you say that, Infamous Bicker? Yeah, I think that works, The Northern Vlogger, The Rosgriz, The Steel Horseman, The Viscount, The Faceless Rider, Thorns on a Bike from Wellington, New Zealand, Tin Man, Tosh 23, Vammy Racing, Bison Pride, V-Ride TV, Wiggy, ZX12R, Wheels Not Heels, hope you're fully mended now, Wheels, Who Am I UK1, Wolfie Pix, Woman Wolf Rider, a biker of so many talents, Wyvern Biker, Yankee Doodle, Human 883, and that's it. Does your bike have a name? Only what the manufacturers give them. So the Moto Guzzy is the Guzzy, BMW is the Beamer, the BSA is the Beezer, or best stuff around, or bloody sore ass, depends on how long you've been on it. So are you still with me? If you are, you deserve a chocolate fish. I can tell you one thing, chocolate fish don't swim. I've never been known to make a long story short. So we're nearly at the end now. Question 10, and it's not really a question, but tag some other motovloggers to answer these questions. Anyone who feels inclined to do one of these, please go ahead. I'd love to hear your story. Doesn't matter whether you ride a scooter or a VMAX, a Hyosung or a Harley. We're all in this together. We all face the same dangers, I suppose, tribulations, adversity on the road. We all share, to one degree or another, the same passion for our two-wheeled vehicles. I would really love to hear from any Southern Hemisphere motovloggers. Doesn't matter whether you've had 1 or 100 bikes. We all have a story to tell. How about Bandit Nev in Australia? What's your motorcycle history, Nev? And all the Kiwi motovloggers that are out there now. Bloke on a Bike down in Wanganui. Would love to hear your history as far as motorbikes go. Jonathan Mackey in the South Island on that beautiful old Beamer. The Kiwi Badger in Palmy, riding on that beautiful Manfred. What a sound that bike makes. Jaffa Saffa, my good friend Jaffa Saffa. What's your motorcycle history, buddy? Froggy NZ. I'd love to hear more about what you have ridden in the past, how you came to be a biker riding full Collins. I know you just recently sold the R1, but what's your history before that? Auckland NZ, I'm sure you've got some stories to tell about your motorcycling past. Rev Dev on the beautiful Ducati. And how about Rider of NZ, Dual Sport Jaffa? There's a man about to go off on an exciting adventure overseas. Love to hear more about your motorcycling history. Well, as I said folks, if you've managed to get through this far in the video, you've done well to listen to all my drivelling on, my verbal diarrhea. I congratulate you for that, or commiserate with you or something. Thanks for watching people, ride safe, keep the shiny side up and the knees in the breeze.